So today I'm going to be taking a look at another kit from Tack House Survival, and this one is the Lighted Up Fire Kit. One thing I like about these kits is he uses a part of an inner tube or Ranger bands to keep them closed, and that's actually pretty nice because they work extremely well, and these are actually quite useful for many things. But I'm going to open this up and take a look and see what's in it, and then we're going to light some fires. The first thing I see right off the bat is Wet Fire from Ultimate Survival Technologies. Now, if you saw the video for the Tack House Survival Kit, you would know that this Wet Fire is some pretty incredible stuff. So this Wet Fire, it just takes a spark. It's like a big chunk. It burns for a long time, and we're going to test that out here in a little bit. It's kind of annoying because got a dog here again trying to get attention. This dog is so needy. He's always trying to get attention. I can't do anything because he's got to be pet all the time. Go do dog stuff. The next thing that's in this kit is a little baggie of fatwood shavings. I absolutely love fatwood, and I think I'm going to try to shoot sparks at this itself and see if this will just catch on its own. But this is great tinder for starting a fire. Another thing that's in here is an actual chunk of fatwood. Very great stuff. I love fatwood. It's so good for starting fires. And this is wrapped in some jute twine, and the jute is really good. So we're going to be testing this out as well. We have a bag of matches in here. That's always useful. I'm probably not going to be using these for this, but very nice to have in a fire kit. Another thing we have in here are these little, what do you call these? I already forgot. They're like little fire fuses. Basically, you take one, you fluff it up, and then you shoot your sparks at it, and should work really well. I've tested these out already too, but we're going to test them again. A lot of people may not have seen that video, so we're going to test all this stuff out. And then to actually get the fire going, there's this little tiny ferro rod. Now, if you saw my video for the survival kit, it also had one of these ferro rods, and I could not ignite anything with this little ferro rod. I had to get my big one. But this kit comes with a really nice striker, so hopefully I can get a fire going with this, and it should work. I hope it does, because I didn't bring my big ferro rod out here. The last thing that's in here, this is quite interesting. This is basically, it's not like a pocket chainsaw, but something like that. It's a wire saw, that's what it is. And you unroll this, you put your fingers in here, and then you go across the wood. I'm probably going to try this out. I'm kind of by myself today, so I don't know how I'm going to set up a camera for that. I don't really have a tripod for this. It's actually sitting on a bucket right now, but I'll try to figure out something so I could test this out, because I'm very curious about this. But for now, let's test some of these out and light some fires. So I know I'm not really in frame here, but I'm hoping that what I do here will pick up, so you don't need to see my face for this. But I think the first thing we're going to do is the fatwood and the jute. Just unraveling some of this so I can get to some of this fatwood here. I was going to use my knife for this, but I think I'm going to use this instead. Just going to scrape some of this off. I hope it don't blow away. It's kind of windy out here. I didn't have a whole lot of other places to do this, so hopefully this works out. And I'm going to use some of these shavings as well. And I'm going to see if I can just get a spark going on this and light this on fire. Again, I really hope it doesn't blow away. But we shall see. I didn't scrape a whole lot off of here. I should probably put a little bit more on here. It really doesn't take much. But it's windy out here, like I said, and I want to make sure I get a good, accurate test here. So let's try out this little tiny ferro rod and see if I can light this on fire. Almost had it. It's just such a tiny ferro rod. It doesn't shoot a whole lot of sparks. And it's just really difficult to get a hold of and use. Okay, it's actually on fire. I don't know if you can see that, but I did get that to ignite. Took a little while with this tiny little ferro rod, but it definitely worked. And that was just a little bit of the fat wood shavings and some from this bag, and that worked. So let's try something else. So the next thing I'm going to try is some of this jute twine. And I know this stuff takes a good spark, but you really got to fluff it up. So I'm going to fluff this up as good as I can. And then we're going to try to shoot a spark at it and see if we can light this on fire. I will say that if it was freezing cold out here, which thankfully it's not, it's very warm out here, but if this was like a freezing cold survival situation, this might actually be a little difficult to do, because you start to lose dexterity in your hand. So this might be a little difficult in that situation, but I got it all nice and fluffed up, and I'm going to see if I can get it lit with this ferro rod. And just like that, it actually started right on fire. That one was really simple, really easy, and that works out very well. So let's move on to the next thing. So the next thing I'm going to try out here is this fire fuse. And again, you just got to fluff it up really well, and it should take a spark pretty simple. This stuff is really, really fluffy. It's like cotton. I don't know why I said that weird. But if you ever used cotton before, you know that stuff is really easy to light on fire. So now that I got it all nice and fluffed up, I'm going to use this little tiny ferro rod and see if I can light this. and it's on fire. That was actually really simple too. So far these are all working extremely well, and they're taking very little effort to actually get going. The most effort I'm putting in is just unraveling and getting everything fuzzy. But we have one more thing to try out, so let's get to that. The last fire starter we have is this Wet Fire by UST. Now, the last time I used this, I used the entire chunk because it comes out in a pretty big piece. And when I used that, it burned for so long. And I was on my porch, and I almost started my house on fire because it just kept burning. And actually the fire fuse is still on fire as well, but this stuff burns for a long time, so I'm just gonna use this and I'm gonna cut a chunk off of it and we'll go with that. It breaks really easy. It's very easy to handle, and it should take a spark very quick. So again, with our little ferro rod here, we're gonna see if we can light that on fire. The last time I used this stuff, I had no problem lighting it. This time, it's kind of being annoying. Come on. Okay, that one took a while for some reason. I don't know why that one took so long, but it is on fire. And again, I don't know how well any of this is showing up on the camera here because I can't really see the screen, but I was able to get all the fire starters going with just this little ferro rod. So if I had a bigger ferro rod, this would have been super simple. And I'm going to knock this off here so I don't burn this bench. But that Wet Fire burns for an extremely long time. So the last thing I had to try out is this wire saw. And I don't have a whole lot of places to try it out here, but I'm just going to try it on this tree here because we got to get rid of these trees anyway. So let's see how well this works. Wow, it really gets in there and gets stuck. Jeez. I feel like I can pull it one way but not the other. This just ain't working. So I don't know if it's just because that was a living fresh tree or what, but this thing was just not doing it. I'd go one way and then it would get stuck. It wouldn't come back the other way. And if I started going that way, it would get stuck and not come back this way. It would be so much easier to just have a machete or a knife or something and chop that down. One of these days I'm gonna test this on some dead wood. I don't really have any around here right now to test it on, but I still think that this could work. I mean, when it was going through even just one way, it was biting in really, really well. It's just, it kept getting stuck. I couldn't use it. So, as of right now, I don't like this saw at all. And I'm going to have to give that a better test one day, but maybe one day when I could get out in the woods and test it out on some dead trees. It's all kind of flooded right now, and it basically looks like a big swamp out there. But one of these days I'll get out there and I'll test this out on some dead wood, and maybe I'll get different results. I don't really know. But as of everything else in this kit, it all worked very well. I had a tiny bit of problems with the wet fire, just getting it going. But my hands were getting really tired from that small ferro rod. If I had a bigger ferro rod, or if I used the matches, that would have been no problem. But it's just such a small ferro rod. But, you know, this is just meant for a quick survival kit. It's not like you're going to be using that ferro rod every single day. And I'd definitely invest in a larger one if I were you. But, sorry, I'm fiddling around with this thing. Everything else in the kit was fantastic. And these kits are not expensive either. I don't know the costs offhand. But you could go to TachHouseSurvival.com and look for yourself. He's got all kinds of kits. And he sells other stuff too, like knives and just tons of stuff. And I have a few more kits to go through. We'll get to those in their own video. But as far as the fire kit goes, what is it called? The Light It Up kit. Definitely worth the money. It's got so many great fire starting options in it. I'm not a big fan of that tiny ferro rod. Sorry. But to save space, I understand it. You could probably get a slightly bigger one and still fit it in here, but minor gripe. It still works. As long as you have a good scraper, it should work no problem. And like I said, it's tiny, but I lit all this stuff with just this ferro rod and the scraper, so it'll definitely work. And if you don't want to use a ferro rod or you don't know how to, you have plenty of matches. So if you get this kit, there's no reason you can't start a fire and get warm or dry off or whatever it may be. Cook your food, whatever. So I definitely recommend the Tach House Survival Light It Up kit. It's a great, great fire kit. So many great fire options. And the fat wood in it, that's going to last you quite a while because it only takes a little bit to get a fire going. This stuff burns so well. And the same with the wet fire. It burns so well for so long. I mean, that I threw that on the wet ground and it was still burning like crazy for a very long time. So, highly recommend it. Definitely check it out. Jeez, I just got scared by a dog. And stay tuned for more kits because I got some other cool stuff to get into. And that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. And anything else you want to add, let me know in the comments down below.